My friend, you are spirit inside a body. You are spirit in a human body. You are spirit who came here to experience being a human in a body. So I know there are a lot of people who say things like, I am a spiritual being having a human experience. Yes, but you're not just having this experience. You deciding the experience you're going to have, this is your PowerPoint. Now, you might think, Brandy, none of that is me, but that's a story that you have. Everything you think about yourself is a story that someone else or you have told yourself about you. Do you like it? Do you want to keep telling yourself that same story that you are doomed because of everything that came before, that you are doomed because gender, that you are doomed because the economy, that you are doomed because the world? Do you like that story? Because listen, you might be the spirit who loves the drama. So here's what I'm offering you. What if you chose to be here, and what you get to do in your humanity is to get in line, align with being here and being human and the things you like. Like, what if your guilty pleasure is to be the human who only ever is sad and maudlin? So be it. Do you like it? Be it fully. Be it fully and take part in this place where you are the one who is choosing yourself and the way you are absolutely in power by choosing for yourself. So consider that this is us remembering that we are spirit who chose this. And the whole theme of all of this is you asked for this. Stop pretending that you're powerless, because you are the one who gets to choose. So now, let's settle on in. I could use a big old settle in. All right. So consider there is this swirling mass of spirits who cannot wait to be in a body. Find your booty in your seat. Find your feet on the floor. Drop your shoulders. Wiggle your fingers. You have a body. Breathe it. Notice how often that body breathes you. You don't pay any attention to it. It breathes you. So picture this. Before this version of you, before this one in the skin suit, in your meat vessel, you were formless, a firecracker of a spirit, flipping around the cosmic ethers like, I want in there. peeking in the window, watching everybody else with their bodies and their experience, thinking, if I was there, I wouldn't complain about that kind of thing because I always wanted to be human. Ever since I could remember, I always wanted to have a body. It wouldn't bother me that my body was different because I've always wanted a body. Can you imagine it? You saw Earth as this gigantic, unfiltered theme park, like Six Flags. Joy, rage, grief, getting dumped, winning, falling on your face, sobbing on your steering wheel, screaming that there's no fucking way you can go into that job again. You wanted all of it. All of it. You craved sensation because as spirit you have none. You craved experience. You craved choice. You craved the story of being separate and alone because as spirit, you know that you are not. So you showed up. You signed up. You stood in line. You complained about how long it took to stand in line because you were practicing to be a human in line, standing. For a while, once you got here, you remembered. You remembered where you came from. But you were an infant. So as you grew, your memory faded and you were trained out of your spirit intuition. You were trained out of being excited about adventure and you were trained into being afraid of failure. But all of those things for a spirit, what delight. It's experience to feel it in this new body of yours. You wanted to dance weird in the kitchen. You want to say what you mean. You want to stare at bugs like they're ancient secrets. But then school, but then culture, but then be realistic. But then you're in the family and we are not the kind of people who ... And the world trained you out of your power. And so you forgot that you chose this very thing, being here right now. And you forgot that you still get to choose even after you show up. I'll fight. So consider this your wake-up call. And you might think you're stuck, but you are actually just being obedient. So let's just call it like it is. There's a version of you that says, I can't. And that part of you isn't broken. That part of you is well trained. That part of you is well trained to mistake overwhelm, too much information at once that you haven't processed or been able to sort like beans so you can see what's most important. You've been trained to mistake that for the truth of you being overwhelmed. You've been trained to believe the loudest voice in your head, and honey, that voice never came from you or immortal love. That voice came from another frightened spirit in a body that forgot it was indeed spirit in a body. So, these things, it's not woo, it's neurology. These things is the way, the beautiful vessel and machinery of this beast of your body. You have a magnet in your mind. And science calls it your reticular activation system. And what that magnet does is it takes the thing that you treasure the most and it shows it to you everywhere. And while you can say, no, I am rich beyond belief, and I am generous beyond belief, when you walk by, those things on sale and you see somebody else being interested and they have their eye on it too, and so you grab what you can, that is what you are holding. Your mouth says, yes, abundance, but your behavior says, I got to grab this because there won't be more. And I mean, I only have this limited amount. And it's me against them. It's us against them. I know this because I am human, and that's what I hear. And this is just a way for you to understand what it is you really care deeply about. And what it's showing you is you've just only forgotten. Lack is built into humans. Lack is not built into spirit. It's a default in humans. And so we get to learn to see what is all available to us. And there is so much available. So when you say things like, nothing ever works out for me, see, you're only as good as your last failure, guess what your brain filters out? Opportunities, options, allies. If you have decided you're the strange one and there's nobody that's freaky like you and you can't be understood, then you are blowing past everybody who would love exactly who you are and get it. They would get it, but you can't see them because you've cut them off, because you've decided you're the strangest one. Your brain is only going to prove to you what you've decided. It will serve up proof that you are doomed, that you are stuck, that you are small, that it's somebody else's fault. Because that's what you're holding in your heart. It's what's pulling it close. So your reality is not a wall. You don't need a breakthrough. It's a mirror. You can lay things down that don't serve you. People say, be realistic, like it's some sort of sacred commandment. But realistic is a trap that's built by somebody who may well madly love you and doesn't want to see you hurt, but also fundamentally does not understand that failure is the pathway to what it is you want. None of us stood up and walked first thing. None of us lifted up our head, I don't know, with any control first thing. It's a practice. Remembering what you're choosing on purpose is a practice. So, reality, it's a movie screen. Your expectations are the projector. So, I worked with a lady, and she kept saying that she was miserable in her family, she was miserable in her home, that her partner and her children disrespected her, and there was nothing that she could tolerate by being with them anymore. And so she stewed in that for a long while. She's the one who has to be the long suffering one. And so curiously, there were more things for her to long suffer. And then she decided that she wasn't doing this anymore. She was leaving. And so she left and she took herself. And here's what she's decided now. It's the same. She's running up people who mirror the same thing to her. So when we have a conversation, we talk about what it is that they are showing her, and she gets to decide if she's going to keep bringing up people that want to teach her that lesson. It's a mirror for her. Some people say pain will never leave until you learn the lesson it has for you. It's another way to look at it. Sometimes I believe things come back not because you haven't learned your lesson, because I also don't believe that God is like, you got one more try. I got all your lessons lined up here. Or the universe, or whoever you hand your power to. If you are handing your power to a higher power that tests you all the time, you are fundamentally making that higher power one of your parents. So that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a world where the creator of all mimics your parents and their behavior. If your God is an angry, angry God who can hardly tolerate anyone, and good thing for Jesus, otherwise, to the rest of y'all, that is not immortal love, my friend. It's a voice, it's a story, it's a play, it's a path. Do you want to keep it? Because ultimately, you get to choose. So, we are filled with BS, belief systems. Our belief systems are our path. We will always follow the path of least resistance. When people desire to shift, and then other people say, yeah, but other people aren't going to want to be around you if you're like that, you can notice if those boulders those people are placing in your path are going to change the path you take. And if they do, that's just good information about you and the human that you are inhabiting at this moment. And at any moment, you get to decide that you are the human who is glad for the people who decided they like you no matter what. And you're so thankful for the people who decided to get the fuck away from you, because you weren't going to be what they always needed you to be. I need you to be like this for me. If somebody needs you to be like that for them, then their happiness is conditional, and it's conditional on you jumping through hoops. And if you need other people to be a way so you can feel good about them, that's that's the human you're inhabiting. And you've chosen that your path of least resistance is following what everyone else is saying and feeling about you. And if you cannot conjure safety and security in yourself, and you need other people to behave in a certain way so you can grab safety and security from them and feel it, that's kind of vampire energy. That you need them to be away so you can feed yourself. And so that's just good information. However you're going to be it. So, timeline jumping. Had a lot of folks talk with me about timeline jumping, and what the way I understand it, and the way that I don't understand what they are saying to me is, the way I understand it is, when I timeline jump, I am walking in the shoes of the one I am becoming. I am choosing from a place of being the one who already knows that this is done. I am deciding things from the point of view of the one who understands that if it doesn't go as planned in my mind, that there is another option that is waiting for me on the other side of this failure, because this was building things in me. I think I'm building things outside of myself, and what's happening is either it's working outside that I can see, or it's working inside on me so I can be the one who can sustain it. So here's something That might feel a little pinchy. The pain you're experiencing right now, what if you asked for it? That villain you have in your life right now, what if y'all had a conversation and they were willing to be your villain? How selfless. Because you wanted to learn something about yourself. Well, I don't want to think like that, Brandon, because that feels like it's letting them off the hook. Okay, what hook? Whose hook? Well, they need to be held accountable. So if they did illegal things, then there are consequences to that. But the part where you're trying to hold other humans accountable who have never said to you that they agree to be in a relationship where you hold them accountable for these things is you. Man, you're working hard at control because it's what a human do. But what can help you not fight with yourself so much about it is to understand you have desires that they would be away. And all of that is great for the spirit in your human. What a delight. They didn't just show up on earth and it was fine until they died. You got to have contrast. You got to have a really shitty relationship so you could appreciate just what peace felt like. And you don't have to have pain to appreciate other things, but I am telling you, people who have not, people who have only felt the goodness forget. Well, I guess they can't really forget. They have no idea of the depth of the goodness they're experiencing if they don't have a little contrast to compare it to. What a lot of folks do, well, they will take their contrast from someone else in the world or somewhere else in the world. So my beloved used to say something about, I don't know, something, and well, but there, there are people who have a whole lot less, so I guess it's fine. And I thought, well, it's nice. They appreciate that you use them so you can feel better about yourself, but it's what we do as humans. But it's so powerful when you can take what you know about your experience in your life. I have had relationships where I felt unseen and unheard. And what I understand when I look back is I never let myself be known. So for sure, I felt unseen and unheard because the real me was. But what if I chose that as my spirit? What if I chose that experience so that I could have that experience and then beep, I could have this experience where I have a relationship with people who ask me, who clarify further. Hey, I didn't understand that thing you said. I want to know more about what you're thinking. Won't you tell me? So, knowing, knowing, question mark, having the idea that what if this I put here for me, what could I know from this? How much could I know that I was madly in love with the life I was going to lead, that I pre-sent this experience to the present as a gift, as a present for myself? So you didn't show up here for Pinterest life. You came here for sweat, snot, blood clots, diarrhea, awkward phone calls, and the electric, oh yes, of remembering who you are. Even heartbreaks are bonus level in this game because they cracked you open enough to see, enough to feel, enough to change, enough to decide for yourself. Pain isn't punishment. It's a pivot point. It's a portal. Pain asks, do you want to stay here, babe? Or are you ready to choose something different? So When you see you are coming up on a choice where you can crawl back in the swamp and decide it doesn't matter, you are stuck, it's always here, the world is shit, you can't do anything, why does it matter anyway? Drop back in to your body. Close your eyes if you can. Think about a stuck story you've been repeating lately and notice how it shows up in your human, in your body. A throat that's tight, a chest that's heavy, a jaw that's locked. Now ask, what would the me that is done with this feel right now? Even if you experienced the same sensations, the one who is done using these sensations as the reason why you can't, what would that one do? So move like them. Even if it's just adjusting in your seat, manually unclenching, breathing deeper, opening up your arms wide. Let your nervous system that's attached to your beautiful human body catch the smell of freedom. That is timeline jumping. That is choosing, not wanting, choosing. So imagine you at the end of this life, sitting somewhere high and quiet and looking back. And somebody asks you, what was it like? What was it like to be human? And you don't say, oh, I stayed small. I was scared. I was really polite. I agreed with people that I didn't respect. You said I played full out. It got messy. My heart got broken. People pissed me off. I changed things. I loved it. Even the worst parts, I loved it, and I would choose it over and over again and go through the part where I forgot and then I remembered. There's a saying that the one split themselves up into the many for the joy of discovering they were the one again. So you get to remember the story that you tell yourself at this stage, the back to spirit part, that your body wasn't just a meat suit. It was a portal. It was a vessel. You got to drive around in it. It was an antenna. It was a lightning rod for power. And you stopped waiting to feel brave when you acted as the version that you meant to be. You stopped being loyal to your limitations because you're not behind, because you're not broken. You're just overdue for a little remembering. You're just stuck in a story that you can't and you won't, and you're small and you're scared. But so here's your next work order. Interrupt the thought loops. Choose a new interpretation. Move like you're the one who knows. And when your brain says everything's changing, it's happening again, you get to tell yourself everything changes the moment that I change. And then you walk in. You get to walk in. You get to choose the reality that you walk in. And it might not choose what you see going on, but it's going to change how you experience it. And that's everything.